Said wait.
All right.
Hi.
Oh shit! Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're live, bro. Welcome to a new series of panels known as One Shots, brought to you by Latinx S.H.I.E.L.D. I am Mikey.
Taylor.
That's me. I'm sorry. I'm Taylor.
Diego.
Diego.
Hi, I'm Diego.
I'm Latino number 3 for convenience because my name is Christian.
And my name is also Christian.
Yes. And today we are doing our first ever panel on the channel, and we're doing it on Latinx and Hispanic representation in comics due to the fact that Hispanic Heritage Month ends tomorrow.
Damn.
Am I right?
Today.
Tomorrow.
Yes, today. No, it
It's
ends
today.
It ends today. It never ends in my heart, though.
And clearly, as
Good attitude to keep.
yeah, and clearly, as y'all can see, I am the moderator of this lovely panel-ish, whatever this discussion, because I'm clearly not of this community, but the rest of these people are. So
You don't know. You can be.
I mean,
Afro-Latinos.
maybe I may be Dominican. I don't know really, but like,
There's some in you. There's a little bit in you.
there's a little bit in me, I guess. All right. So to start off,
We
even
accept
though
you anyway.
thank you, I appreciate it. Yes. To start off, I would say, even though I don't really do notes, everyone knows I go off the top, but I want to start off by saying, what are y'all, in y'all opinion, being of this, representing this community of people, what is your opinion on the current state of like diversity in comic books right now when it comes to Hispanic, Latinx characters?
Money grab. I think it's fucking money grab. They don't give a shit about us. They just want the cash.
I feel like it's really cheap, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of different, like, cool characters, I guess, but at the same time, I don't know. I just don't see them, like, as, like, headlining heroes, kind of.
Never a main character, really.
Yeah, exactly.
What
But
I
that
think
can
of
go
it,
that can go for quite a lot of POC in general. But
Yeah.
That's true.
what I think about it is they take a general character, right? Like a generic white character, make them brown, and then they sell it because that's their hook. Usually with good comic books, they have a specific kind of hook, right?
Mhm.
Like we have this character being like this or has this ability or can do that. But when it comes to like being a different race, also it goes to being black or being a different sex or being different sexual attraction, they just use that as the hook and fuck do whatever. And that's really upsetting.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
because like your main thing is that you're Hispanic, you're Latino. It's not that you can shoot lasers out of your hand. It's that you're Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Yeah.
like, another thing is that they'll, like, Latino code a character. So, like, they'll probably have, like, one thing that's, like, in general, all Latinos do. Instead of specifically, like, calling them out or calling specifically where you're from, because I think
They eat rice and beans.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, Latinos come from, like, so many different countries, it's really hard to, like, pinpoint which one they're from. And I think, like, for representation, I don't want to say it's difficult, but, you know, it's possible. You just don't see it enough.
It's lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy.
Okay.
I mean, I've definitely like noticed, like especially like in the past like 10 years in comics where like they announce a new like Latino Hispanic character, but then like as what y'all said, like I don't see them often like in comics that much. Like who's a character that like, for example, like America Chavez. Like I remember her, like it was a big deal for her being announced and being created, but like she's not used much at all. And it's very sus.
Don't know for sure. Does she have her own solo series?
She did, and I think it got
That's
canceled.
what I thought she did, but it wasn't. I don't know if it's ongoing right now.
No, it's not happening now. No, I remember like I think it was like what was a Marvel Now 2.0. I think maybe that's when it happened.
It was a few years ago. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, but y'all, I mean, there are characters on the come up though. I mean, like that have happened. Like what's like obviously like Miles Morales because half Hispanic, half black.
Black
like
He took him.
Yeah,
He was
like
cute.
I just remember like I forgot about this character, but I just remember like Jessica Cruz from DC Universe, Green Lantern, and like had her own book with Simon Bass, who was a Muslim Green Lantern.
That was another thing that we talked about a while ago. I feel like me and you, Mikey, was that I had mentioned that I don't know many Hispanic Latino comic book characters that are just Hispanic and Latino. They're usually
Word, we
mixed
did talk
with
about
something
this.
else. I said it's about like 8 times out of 10 that Hispanic or Latino character that you know is like half white. Like they're not like fully Hispanic or Latino. And like I feel like we did talk about it because there are a few, but they're not many.
I mean, let's see. Like I said, like Jessica Cruz, I think is full Latino. Miss America is full Latino.
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle is he's an OG.
Mm-hmm.
He's an OG character, and
Robbie Reyes.
Jaime Reyes, and he's Mexican. Yeah, he's Mexican. And even that's the thing too. Like we've also mentioned, like some of them they don't even mention like what country like ethnicity they are. Like I know like Miss America they don't mention is she's Hispanic.
It's just
like
Mikey, there's more countries besides Mexico.
I don't even think did they mention what Miles is?
His mom's Puerto Rican.
He's Puerto Rican, right? Yeah.
Woo, that's me.
Fun fact, the actor who played him in Spider-Verse, Shameik Moore, thought he was Mexican for the longest time until he was told.
That's okay.
It'd be like that sometimes. It really be like that sometimes.
I mean, it really do be like that sometimes.
I really feel like that's like an untapped gold mine of picking out very specific things to like very specific cultures, you know? Like
okay. I'm just gonna say this quick.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to be a gold rush where everybody just wants a piece of it just to make more money or something too, you know?
What do you mean?
You got these gold nuggets of culture that have been underutilized, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you guys, I'm gonna state right now, I don't know too many comic books per se. I know more of the entertainment, movie, TV show parts of it.
Yeah, you can also talk about
representation on that front rather than comic books. But you got these gold nuggets of culture, and it's like how you guys said, you don't want it to just be like, hey, by the way, look at this little like, you know, Hispanic action figure I got for you guys here. It's just to make money. You like given enough time, the charms and the attraction of it will come. But I feel like if it's rushed, like it was stated before, then it'll just be like, okay, there's nothing special about this person. What are they from? Where are they from? Somewhere Spanish, I guess. It's okay. Representation.
So like if I get like your idea, if we rush it too quickly, then it's just gonna be
if you
pointless.
rush it, it's like what, like when you're rushing it just to make money, it's just to make money, wouldn't it? Like
Yeah, that's a valid point. That was something I was really considering, like while I was getting ready for this. Was obviously it's big money grab, but there's been a slight saturation increase, I guess, to use random ass technical terms in the back of my head of Latinos in all forms of media. Yeah, like you said before, just specifically to make money.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's opening a gateway. The reason why everyone did it and it's not unique anymore was just because of money. And I guess that same philosophy would apply if I get what I want, which is culturally specific things that individuals do. Like, for example, like a Puerto Rican character would say, like, "Sucias," whenever they refer to what was it, like meat and rice and beans, right?
Right. I honestly just finished eating rice and beans with steak. Like,
yeah,
it's
It's exactly like what Lynn said.
Yeah, right here. Put our lovely friend Lynn put a comment and says he wants celebration, not monetization.
Friend of ours.
Yes.
Yeah. But for like the counter argument, I feel like it's hard to do a money grab when you get really in depth in a specific culture because that's not easy to do.
I agree.
Yeah, that's true.
I could hang around with all the Puerto Ricans or Dominicans I want, but I'm still gonna know the Colombian culture better just because that's what I started off with, you know. And with a Caucasian individual, that's gonna be twice as hard and to do that, but also twice as easy to make something. You know, like
that's exactly what we were talking about like 5
Yeah.
minutes ago before we even started this.
Yeah.
I was saying I want specific cultural representation because I'll take away like looking in comics, look at media in general.
Word.
A lot of Hispanic Latino representation is of Mexico, but not really of Mexico, specifically of Day of the Dead. It's just movie after movie or story after story of just Day of the Dead. And it's like, how many times can we learn about the Day of the Dead and say that that's Hispanic representation and not actually dip your toes into any other culture or anything?
Yeah. You want them to take risks with other cultures and not what people would automatically go, I know what that is. Day of the Dead, that's that Mexican thing, right? I know what that is.
Yeah.
I mean,
because not all Hispanics celebrate Day of the Dead. That's not. I mean, Puerto Ricans don't. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We
Like
have
when
our
you
own like sort of tradition for that, but it's not how Mexican people do it. And it's like that's all. I feel like that's all anybody knows. That's all anybody knows how to do the representation is just strictly on Day of the Dead. And it's like after that point, other Hispanics and Latinos kind of sit around like, what else?
I think so too. It's just I don't want to say Day of the Dead is really cool, but because it is, but it's just really cool.
You're right.
And it's just like such an
great,
easy thing to write about because it could be about any different, person's family. The only thing that I don't know, I kind of see the opposite. I know that most of it is mostly Mexican, but like when I see like I guess like TV shows and movies, it's mostly Caribbean.
Can you give me an example?
One Day at a Time on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
That was Cuban, right?
Yeah, that was Cuban, and I thought that was one of the weirdest things because there's not such a large Cuban community in Los Angeles. There's a ginormous Mexican community considering the border is just like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, but I wonder why and I get it because Mexican is kind of now used as like a blanket term for all Latinos, which it's horrible, but it does happen. But I think at the same time for me, when I first saw like a lot of the Day of the Dead stuff, I was like, oh cool, this is happening again. But I think the more and more people use it, I think the more and more people are going to kind of see like this culture as like a trend or like a fad that's just going to fizzle out.
Well, I mean, you go to Spirit Halloween and they're still selling costumes of Day of the Dead.
And
like,
I'm like,
I don't know when they're going to get into their brains that that's cultural appropriation. But.
Yeah.
Not to direct away from any of your talking points, Mikey, but I have a question for you guys. Do you have any holidays in your culture that you wish ended up in media? Because for me,
Taylor was just saying what one that I forgot about, and I know what it is.
Let Christian finish his like culture.
Yeah.
In Colombia, there's this thing called Dia de los Flores, where it's this flower festival, right? Biggest event in Colombia in the entire year, and they travel from one point to the country all the way down to the other one, and it's just this long parade-like festival, and it's great. And I would explode if I saw that on TV or in comics or literally in anything.
That sounds really pretty, actually. What the hell?
It's really pretty. What they do with it is they have these gigantic circles with local flowers attached to them, and with the flowers they make very intricate and specific designs with it, and then they put them in the back of the cars and they drive them around the city.
Is it a religious holiday?
I don't know, and I really don't care. I just really like the flowers.
Enjoy it. That's a problem, though. Like when media wants to use a different Latino holiday, at least like for Mexicans, most of our holidays are related to Catholicism. A lot of them are.
That's pretty much true.
Day of the Dead, you could ignore the Catholic part and just focus on like the Aztec part. That was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Like we have like Las Mañanitas de Guadalupe. You could use that, but you're using Mary as like what you're praying to. That's why like being Latino, you're gonna carry a lot of Catholic guilt.
God, we love Catholic.
it's a little difficult, but at the same time, I still want to see it.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to expect that.
Those
here.
damn colonizers.
Yeah, they try, but they can't do it like we do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, because there's you made an interesting point. A lot of Hispanic holidays do have to deal with something like religious or of some sort. Because in DR, there's something Semana Santa, where it's basically Easter, but for a whole week, and it's just a party for like a whole week. Now, some people could probably like, oh, they're celebrating Easter, but it's like, it's parades and people in big outfits and crazy shit. So it's like, all right, the standard person will probably not be able to stomach it, like not stomach it, understand it entirely, being like, well, my Easter's has always been just, we're gonna go pick some eggs and do this and that, not like go wild all over the damn streets. It's different, it's different. Could definitely make like you can tell that some people won't understand or won't relate as much as they want to. They just you didn't grow up that way, so you're kind of like, I don't really know what this means. Some people can are cool and they're kind of like, oh, I know what this is. I'm gonna do it anyways. It's whatever.
Yeah, for the people who aren't familiar with cultures, we take it as an excuse to drink.
There's a tradition that I would like to see from Puerto Rico, which is it's a parandas. It's sort of like Christmas caroling, but better. Because honestly, I feel like Hispanics and Latinos just love to party. But basically, in Puerto Rico, how it works is like you get like a group of people, a little group of friends, and you sort of knock on somebody's door. But usually, people know that this event is coming up, so they leave their doors unlocked. Because how it works is you actually go into the person's home and you party, and then you bring the people from that home into somebody else's home.
Like a mob
party.
Yeah.
And so eventually you go around the entire neighborhood and your town, and you just go into everybody's home and you come out and you're partying with everybody, and it's like a celebration of Christmas. And that's like usually what happens around that time. But again, speaking on like people aren't going to understand, like in America, like if you walk into somebody's house,
what are you doing here?
Singing, I feel like you're gonna get shot.
We have the same thing. We call them las posadas, and it's like kind of a religious holiday because you're basically being like Mary and Joseph, and you're taking like going house to house, knocking, hey, we need a place to stay. And at the last house, it's this whole party that you throw with piñatas and everything.
Yeah, we also have the same thing. It's called poverty in our place. What?
Oh,
Sorry, what were you gonna say, Taylor?
I said, what's up with Hispanics always wanting to party? But I'm gonna let that one slide.
Next topic.
I want to bring it up. Great. I love this. Great discussion. But like, I want to bring it back into comics real quick. Can y'all think, like, my question is, can y'all like think like throughout like history of just comics, just in general, or any or comic book media or whatever, what have you, any like good like interpretations of like Latinx, Hispanic character? You can name specific character. I have an example that like probably you'll not even know about, and it's
Please
all right, so
please share.
So for the people on the panel as well as my audience that are watching, no, wait, what?
What'd you say, Speedy Gonzalez? It's like perfect.
No, fam, no. Okay, but yeah. So if anyone doesn't know anyone know who Milestone is? Milestone, media.
Yeah, you always talk about Milestone.
It's the shit. Yeah. For people who don't know, Milestone was a imprint at DC that started in '93, and it was founded by mostly like African American writers, artists, and their goal was to mostly like have a forefront of like black, not just black characters, but like black, Latino, Hispanic, Asian superheroes in comics. And it was revolutionary. Like guys like Dwayne McDuffie, R.I.P., who was like writer. He's the guy who wrote like Justice League Unlimited and like a lot of animated shows that like we grew up on. That's like amazing. Like he created Static Shock, like the TV show.
Okay.
Like Static was a character, and but there was a team that they had. I have the first issue of it. They had a team right here called the Blood Syndicate right here, and it was. And what was great about this team was that it wasn't a team; it was a gang. Like it was a fucking gang, like real shit. And what I love about the Blood Syndicate and Milestone was that like they had a mix of like black, Latinx, Hispanic, Asian characters. So like I'm gonna screenshot real quick, but like screen share the screen real quick just to get an example of what I'm talking about. Here we go. All right. Can y'all see? Dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, right here, right? So like the Blood Syndicate, right? Like right here, this dude right here, Tech Nine, Puerto Rican hero, who was awesome, right? And like Puerto Rican, Fade right here, who was not, he was Dominican and he was gay. He was a Dominican gay man. On this team.
Diego's face.
Diego.
There you go.
Which is like unheard of because he also tackled like a lot of stuff with like sexuality and like LGBT representation in the fucking 90s, which is like insane. But in his sister right here, Fade had a sister named Masquerade. Masquerade was Dominican as well, but was also one of the first trans characters in comics. Like her power, she could shape. The way interpreted was kind of dope. It was like she was a shapeshifter, but like because she identified more as a man, she was mostly shapeshifted into a man, and like no one knew that she was a woman until like an issue where she got knocked out during a fight, and then that's when she shifted back into a woman, and it was like unheard of. So like yeah,
Okay.
Milestone, they're like legendary, like and so I think that was a good. It's like the earliest count that I can like think of when it comes to like early like Latinx Hispanic representation like in comics. So don't want to back off of that. Yeah.
It sounds cool. I like that there's like the LGBT with it as well.
Would have been nice to grow up with that, to be honest.
Yeah, the thing is like that's what I regret about like Milestone like media is that like we missed out on it. It was a very big thing to see for not like just for POCs and comic book fans to like see themselves in a book like accurately like ever is like ridiculous. But luckily, Milestone's coming back in February, so it's gonna come back and we're gonna be able to experience a more updated, modern, contemporary version of these characters coming back. And Blood Syndicate isn't coming back, but hopefully soon. But as of now, it's coming back. So I mean, we're gonna see more of that shit. Does anyone have any like good representation? There's if you look up like Hispanic comic creators, there's a ton of characters that show up. You want to talk about any of them? Like
yeah, I just did that and I looked it up. Knew none of them. I liked none of them.
My favorite is Robbie Reyes.
Same.
Robbie Reyes is a good one.
Same, Diego.
Robbie Reyes.
Robbie Reyes is my favorite, but I have to say, let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Victor Mancha?
I have. I love Victor Mancha.
Okay.
No.
Because way back, I'm talking like the first or second year of Students of S.H.I.E.L.D., when we had to make our name tags, and I still have mine, we had to think of an alias. We had to look like, I was kind of like, I wanted to find, instead of picking like somebody like Iron Man or some shit, I was like, let me see if I could find somebody who's of Hispanic descent that's also a superhero in the MCU or the Marvel in general. And Robbie Reyes was one of them. But the other one was Victor Mancha, which I was super surprised to find out that he's Ultron's son. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Victor Mancha
was
was
Runaways. So I was like, all right,
I love Victor Mancha.
let me look into this. And I was like, okay, so he's an android that came to this lady, or Ultron came to this lady, and he was like, you can't have a son. I can give you a son. You just got to do this stuff for me. And Ultron gave her a son who is Vision's brother, but like his purpose was to like kill the Avengers somehow or some shit. But basically, I was kind of like, this is a really cool, like, I don't know. Like, it's just,
a photo. I'll pull a photo. Continue. Sorry.
He's like, what is his powers? He's like, he can control electricity, psychokinetic, some shit like that. I wish he showed up in TV, honestly, because I feel like
we almost got him.
Like,
we almost got him. We almost got him.
What do you mean?
Wow.
Like what's it called? Like with the Runaways TV show that ended like last year. At the
one Easter egg.
Yeah, at the end of season 3, they were like, I don't want to spoil this for Runaways if you haven't. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch Runaways, but
it just says get Mancha or some shit, right?
Yeah, like it says like on a post-it note left by like a future version of one character. It says like like find Victor Mancha, and it's like find Victor, and I was like really hyped about it, but then like it got canceled, and we'll never see it. But I'm trying to find an image of Victor.
I won't take up anybody else's time. I just want to quick say, did you guys like Gabriel Luna as Robbie Reyes? On
I love him, dude. Oh my god.
Oh,
I was really upset about the TV show getting canceled, and
it got canceled before it even started. It was so upsetting. But here's Victor Mancha.
give it time. He'll be back.
Is that Victor Mancha? I think it is.
Yeah, that's Victor.
Yeah.
I don't like. I actually drew that design on his jacket. I was like, yo, I really like this design. I'm about to get a tattoo of it real quick.
I'm gonna be real. I did not expect him to be blonde.
Nah, I'm gonna find another. There's another photo.
Yeah,
I think highly of him. I didn't expect him to be part of the Aryan race.
Oh, here's another one.
Kind of upsetting.
What's it called? Here's another one. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Let me stop sharing. It's with an actor like fan cast, but it's whatever. It's a better picture. But yeah, here is another picture of Victor Mancha. That's not it. That's the same one. Let's see. Oh, here it is. All right, got it. It's as a fan cast, but like here's a better version of.
Yeah, that's a clutch.
Yeah, I fucked with that.
Like, what's up?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but like Victor
that's
Mancha, I remember that character like later on when I read The Runaways, like in like middle school, and I was like, dude, like he's Son of Ultron. That's dope.
That man is Latino.
Yeah,
God, I love his design so much.
Yeah,
Victor's
I
Mexican
feel like
though,
and there are like light-skinned Mexican or like light-skinned Latinos, and I feel
They
like
are,
they get casted way more.
Mm.
So I'm just like, it's half a win, I think.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think
about
Victor
it.
Mancha came back like during the Runaways, like the recent run, like the recent like issues of the Runaways. He came back as like a head, and it was the funniest thing ever.
as a head.
Yeah.
Put dirt on my man's name like that, bro.
That's the
No,
representation.
I'm being
I
serious.
love.
Like,
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's wild.
yeah,
Give it
but,
time. Maybe
yeah, that's
I'll
a
get to
good-
the
that's a good-
60. Give it time.
Yeah, like to go back to Robbie Reyes though, like he's my favorite Ghost Rider. I fucking love Robbie Reyes. He's so
With
fucking
the-
dope. I mean,
With the charger, bro.
dude, that
Whoa!
Whoa. like Robbie Reyes his season was the best Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. season ever. It was so
It
fucking
made
good.
me cry, bro. The
Dude.
ending.
Which is why they were going to
I
give him
was
his
like,
own show.
What's it called? It's unfortunate with this show though, because like it was during like pre-production and it got axed, and it's still not fair.
That's like a lot of like Latino TV shows or like American Latino TV shows.
I'm about to pull up some Robbie Reyes right quick.
They get like the plug pulled on them so fast. It's kind of
Word.
crazy.
But granted, like Kevin Feige was axing all of his shows that were connected to Marvel TV because like Jeff Loeb, he hates Jeff Loeb. So
yeah, that whole debacle.
yeah. But yeah, but like let me see real quick. I got some Robbie Reyes right here though.
But
Robbie
it'll
Reyes.
definitely like, damn, bro, come on.
Yeah, he's Latino.
It's just
Yeah.
It's the stance. It's the stance.
It's a
Yeah.
stance.
That's the way he stands.
Yeah, but props to that actor, man. He did a damn good job. The guy who played his brother as well, Gabe. Oh, so good. But yeah, interesting. What other characters that are good representations? Here's one character that no one talks about. Oh, sorry. Who wants to?
So it's kind of related to this question.
Yeah.
What was the first character that you felt like a connection to that made you feel like, oh, I'm normal with my heritage?
Oh, okay. So
Are you talking about
connect to
comics?
Don't say go Diego go. Don't say Dora. All right.
No.
I know, but I just want to say right off the bat because that's a
like
cop-out.
comics media.
What?
But this-
This could be like comics. This could be like anything really.
just with your heritage?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to find an answer that's like comic related. That'd be dope.
I'll keep my questions to the end because I feel like I'm talking too much. You guys can go ahead.
No, man,
Nah,
please.
go ahead.
You're talking a good amount. You're the only one talking on topic, which is comic books.
Okay.
Yeah. So please.
So
That's a hard thing, right? Isn't that upsetting?
a character
Well, because like
you
it's
connect with
hard
from a
as
heritage
well too,
standpoint.
because like you want because like to feel that connection, you want them to be of your heritage, your culture. So like for me, I would want them to be a Puerto Rican woman, like a woman, and
Right. There's none.
if
Absolutely
somebody
none.
can right now find me a Puerto Rican woman that
I can.
was in media, anything,
Disney
something
princess.
big.
I
I'm not
can
talking like
She might have
oh,
been
like
for
big,
me.
like
Yo,
a big
big.
character.
You know what it
Okay.
was for me? You know what was for me? This is the
You
only
gotta
thing
be a
I-
little bit more specific, Taylor. I feel like there's a lot.
There's like
Sure.
so many
I
Mexican
don't-
characters, but I don't think there's any that I think I could identify with right
The
now.
thing is, though, if there's a lot, sure, but were they good representation? Were they
Oh,
actually
okay.
meaning
That's
well?
probably
Like, were they actually caring about Puerto Rican women when they made her? Like, I want something that I felt a connection to that would be like, oh my God, like that's me.
How
Because
about now?
that's what every POC child or even adult now wants is to see themselves in these big
Word.
positions
How about
that
now
they
being
do
like an
with
adult?
white people.
Now being
And
an
it's
adult.
like I think I never really felt a connection with anybody like that because I don't believe I've ever come in contact with anything like that. But I mean, like, I've gotten close with America Chavez, but unfortunately, she wasn't
just
utilized
finished
very
accordingly.
strongly. Her solo series is not even on right now. And I just kind of feel like her character, unfortunately, has gone to waste. But
Taylor,
so
you
it's
want me to
like
blow your
I kind
mind?
of get excited about things and then I kind of drop down about it because, you know,
You want me to blow your mind when it comes to a Puerto Rican character that you probably don't know of?
I probably don't know of her. Yeah. I mean, if you have.
This is going to like independent comics territory, which I think is better. But
I mean, comics are good.
there was a character that
Um,
this man made a Puerto Rican. I'm not gonna try to pronounce this, but I'm not. But
like
But, Victoria?
yeah, but like this character was
Mikey?
created during. This guy decided, hey, like it was during the like was it an earthquake or like was it the mass power outages in Puerto Rico at the time? Like, well, how many years ago? I think it was like a few years, like 2 years ago.
I thought it was a
Was it
tornado.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he decided to make this character to like bring awareness to that issue that was happening. And yeah, let me see. Yeah, it's right here. This character right here, Puerto Rican. She's basically Puerto Rican. So, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's popular like among
Well,
I mean
I
that
have
was,
no idea who she is, but I love her.
yeah. And yeah, she's I mean very recent, very like new creation like in the indie comic book scene and stuff like that, and looks dope. I think she looks dope.
She looks really cool.
I'm loving
Yeah.
the Puerto Rican flag as her costume.
Because the only which is dope.
I
The
don't
only
like
reason
the
why
blue that they picked.
Mhm.
It's a little bit
Wait,
off.
now, hold on real quick. Was she made? Who was she made by? A man or a woman?
a man.
Don't jump to conclusions yet.
No, no, no,
What's
no,
his
no.
name? His name is
I'm just saying because like her costume is good.
yeah. His name
Like,
is
it's good.
Eduardo.
There's
His name is
no needless thigh highs. There's
Eduardo
no
Miranda
window.
Rodriguez.
Like
Yeah.
it's good. Like it's a good costume.
Rodriguez is the guy's
As
name.
well as to the point. Word.
Yeah. The only reason why I knew about this character was because Milestone did a thing with them, which I thought that it was surprising because of the lawsuit that was going on. But like Static and like Icon and Rocket showed up in her comic, and I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, that's a character that's
Okay.
Well, I love her.
Yeah. For me, for that question that I asked, because it's all about me. The first, it's kind of a funny, but also kind of sad. The first time I felt normal with my culture was when I was in elementary school and I saw a puzzle with Latinos in it. And like legit, I cried at the fact that like, that's me. Wait a minute. I'm not white.
Mhm.
This is my people.
Yeah.
This is it. Because for a long time, my parents never really talked much about being Latino with me. They kind of just, yeah, right? Yeah, they kind of just wanted us to be
Yeah, they
in
kind of just want
this
you
culture.
to be to fit in with the kids at your school who are predominantly white here in
That's
America. That's just how it is. And like
I
the
grew up
longest
in
time, I thought I
LA.
was
Oh,
white. I thought I was just straight
Shut up.
white.
Diego.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see that many white people until I got to college.
Honestly, God
Really?
bless you. I wish that
Yeah,
was me.
my high school was mostly Mexican and
Facts.
Filipino.
Word.
But like the thing is, like when I was younger, like I straight up thought I was white, and like
Yeah.
I didn't think it
Yes.
had any culture to me at all. I thought it was just like all of my
Really?
friends, and like I even went through this really tough, sad phase when I was younger, where I wish that my skin was lighter, because in pictures, especially in the summertime, like, and I would take like with my friends, like my skin was so dark compared to theirs, and I was like, why am I this color? I was like, why am I not like them? And because growing up as a Latino child, especially as a Hispanic girl, your beauty standards are white, blue-eyed, blonde women. And it's like growing up, you're like, that's not me.
That's hard fact.
That's not me. So
Let me
I
ask
thought
you
I
a
was
question,
white for the
Taylor.
longest time until I got to like, I don't know, probably like I feel like I started to really, really, really be okay with my culture when I hit like high school. Pretty long
Can I,
time,
let me-
honestly.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My brother, he's like in that area right now where he's like, I don't want to be Latino. I want to be white. I feel uncomfortable doing that. So how did you get out of that?
Honestly, it took like a lot because like it took a lot because like I even hated like going over to my family's house because all they spoke was Spanish, and I was like can we like not do this? And I honestly think what it came down to was just fear of like not being accepted for my culture, my heritage, my family. And it's like that doesn't help nowadays in this day and age. Like I feel so bad that he's going through this rut right now, especially considering what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And like it honestly came down to like just being scared of being like, yeah, I'm different than you. Like I'm not white. I'm not the majority. I'm a minority. And it's like I started to accept it by having media like that of representation, watching it and reading it and knowing like, oh wow, I have culture. Like I have traditions that is not shared by anything else. It's special to me, it's special to my family. And it just sort of got to me where I was like, I'm special. I'm not like a lot of people here. And I think that that was what really got to me in high school, where celebrating all those traditions and everything, and like was like, oh, this is nice. This is really nice. And now I'm like in college, but I'm like the biggest advocate for my heritage and everything. I love talking about my culture.
Brown people.
Brown people.
Brown people.
I just realized after looking at this list of like just Hispanic, what like Google tells you what Hispanic comic book characters are. Like, there's some characters that like I actually forgot existed. Like, actually, like forgot.
There are
Like,
some characters
can
that
talk
I
about
forget
comics again,
existed
Mikey.
as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking
I
about what we're
always
supposed to be
forget.
talking about. But I like the side discussions though. It's nice. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we gotta bring in. We can't just talk about. We gotta prove to the.
We
Like
gotta
this-
bring in
we
the
are
trauma.
Hispanic.
yeah,
Oh.
like
That's a side tangent too. I won't get to it because Mikey, it's your time. But
like
No,
does
actually, no.
anyone?
Mikey can wait about the comics. What's the side tangent? Because I might want to get into it too.
Oh my gosh!
all
All
right,
right, go
so
off.
Taylor, I think you could definitely get it. Maybe Diego and Chris to a certain degree. Born in America, do you feel like you got to prove that you're Latino enough?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
100%.
have to.
I have
until I
a
went to college.
story about this, man.
Okay.
Wait, hold up. Diego's being the odd one out, so let's listen to
I'm
what he
sorry.
and judge
I
him.
didn't have to prove I was Latino enough until I got to college.
Oh, okay.
So
Which
when
would
I
make
tried
sense
my
at
freshman year,
Penn
when I tried to
State.
join like MASA, like the Mexican American like Student Association, that thing was weird.
Mhm.
They wanted me to prove so much. They wanted me to like ask me where I'm from, what part of Mexico are my family from,
Damn.
whether I could speak Spanish or not. And I was like, there are Mexicans who don't speak Spanish, and that's totally fine.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is really like it really did feel like Mexican in a sense because Mexicans like to exclude other Mexicans.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, but there's like so much separation within that community because you're either from the north, you're either from the south, you're either from this country, you're more native, and if you're less native, the better. If you're whiter, the better. If you're more Spanish, the better. There's different requirements, and I'm like, damn, I gotta live with this and be gay. Damn, just end me now. Like, damn.
That reminds me of something interesting, but I really want to hear what Christian has to say.
Oh my god! All right, so I highly agree with that. Being that I have amassed a different types of cultures, like for example, a lot of my youth I spent in Brooklyn, so I had a lot of that Hispanic/Black kind of like upbringing, and then I moved to Long Island, to where it was a little bit of that, plus now like Italians or just people who live in
Long Island's mostly white. Like
it is not like
isn't it? I thought it was.
So there's Nassau County and then there's Suffolk County. Suffolk County is basically like the South. It's the farther end of the island, right? That's usually where most of like the white people are. But Nassau County, it's mixed.
Okay, I didn't even realize. I thought
the closer you get to Queens, basically, the more you're gonna start seeing like people speaking like different languages and shit. But it was that plus Long Island, plus moving to PA, moving to a suburb. I've had like time to kind of like find myself in each different situation, how to react about certain things and how things are done. One day I was on vacation at OCMD, and I was on a bus with my friends. And there was these two people that were talking. There were two Dominicans, and they were speaking Spanish. And I was like, okay, we're somewhat related. I was like, in Spanish, I was like, hey, what's going on? I was like, oh, nothing much. I'm like, you guys are Dominican, aren't you? And they're like, oh, yeah, are you too? I was like, yeah. And it was weird because then they're kind of like testing me. They were like, hey, how do you say this? And I said it, and they're like, so you were
that accent.
Yeah, you're born here. See, in the country, the way we say it is like this. You were born in America, huh? I was like, yeah, but I felt like I wasn't Dominican all of a sudden. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I can't help that I was born here. I'm like, chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call those pochos in Mexico. Basically, like you're born here, and you can tell from the instant they'll stop you. Like they're like you're telling them in Spanish, and they'll stop you. You're from America, huh? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, your vernacular in Spanish suddenly becomes different in America than what it would in your over there. And it's like oh god. I feel like me and Diego always had this conversation, even me and you, Christian, where we were like, we would try and talk to each other or say certain things in Spanish and we'd be like, wait, what the hell did you just call that? Like,
oh, okay. What do you
I
call
feel
a
like
sandwich?
we still fight over what we call sandwiches. Yeah.
What do you call a sandwich?
Torta.
What the fuck? Torta.
A torta is a cake.
No.
See, it's funny because it might just be me, it might just be my family, but we just say sandwich.
It's so great.
It's just sandwich.
That's Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans say un sandwich. That's it.
Yeah, we say sandwich.
That's
and
so
like,
funny.
Una torta.
I forget what we were talking about, but like he's just like, how do you say like sandwich? And he said torta. I said, that's a cake, sir.
It's a cake. I think I remember hearing this conversation. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
we
God.
still argue about that to this day, but I think it's also very funny as well because like with your friends as well, whether they mean to or not, which like we know for sure like our friends never mean to, but it's like always some certain things where like they'll like see this thing and they're so interested in it, or like, how do you say that in Spanish? And we'll be like, how do you say that in Spanish? And it's like, I remember the one time we went to a farm, Wave Fruit Farms, and somebody asked what pumpkin was in Spanish. And me, Christian, and Jael were sitting there, and we were like, Diego too. We were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, we didn't know.
Spanish?
At the time, we didn't know. It was like, because who buys pumpkins in South America?
Pumpkins in Spanish?
No, that's an American
thing. Bro, like pumpkins aren't. We don't just buy pumpkins at the market. Later, we found out that it was calabaza, but like it was like
Calabas.
I don't think. I think at that point I didn't even know, and I'm a freaking Spanish major.
I was like, honestly though, like, what is a pumpkin though in Spanish? I was like, there's just certain things though that like we don't actually always really have a word for. I feel like, but
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done it where someone asked you, "Hey, how do you say this?" And you panicked and you just made something up?
yeah,
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's,
All the goddamn
that's how you say that. Oh, okay, thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, like
they question you. They can't question you.
Yeah,
How do they know?
Or
Yeah.
it'd be like, wait, what did they say? Do you know what they said? And I'd be like, bro, I'm trying to like keep up. I can't translate right
Yeah.
now. Sorry.
Potato once, and something about a hamster.
That's
My
usually what I do.
translation is Spanish.
Yeah.
That's my
Something
translation.
about his wife leaving him. A spoon. I'm sorry, bro. I can't help you.
No, yeah, it's man.
what's it
I
called?
think it's also too with proving like you're Latino enough and stuff.
Yeah.
Is like
Sorry, what'd you say, Taylor?
What?
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
No, I'm saying like in like continuing with it, like proving that you're Latina enough or whatever. It's like I speak Spanish, but not a lot at all. It's very hard for me to keep up conversations. I can hear it, I can't say it. So I can hear it very well, I can't speak it very well. And it's like that's a big indicator with it as well. Is like as soon as you tell another Latino person or something that you don't speak Spanish, they're like, oh,
They already know you're
well,
American.
you're not really. You're not real. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Let me just go.
Let me get at the
tell
store.
my parents and my grandparents who were born in Puerto Rico to fuck me, I guess, because I'm not. You're
For
right.
me,
Damn.
I have to say it's kind of the opposite because I was raised with it. So
Yeah,
I was like always had to make sure I was speaking it well, or none of my family would understand me, and it was kind of looked down upon. Now it's still looked down upon if you don't know it. Like I have a cousin who's from Mexico, and she moved to I think New Hampshire, and she speaks perfect Spanish through and through. And she looked at me and my brother, who were both raised on it, and she was like, "How do you teach your kid how to speak Spanish?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You're from Mexico. You should know this too." And I'm like, "Where the hell have you been?"
What's it called? Sorry. But to bring it back to comic, I'm sorry.
Mikey, I was trying to help you out there.
Oh, word.
These are instances where a story about, for example, Victor Mancha, an artificial Hispanic, trying to be like people like finding out about him, like, you aren't really Hispanic, aren't you? There's something off about you. Like these are stories that would be like very like, okay, see, I feel like that. I can understand. There's some people like, oh, I know someone who feels like that, where they don't feel like they're 100% who their like heritage says about them. These are interesting stories.
Yeah, they are interesting stories. You can honestly take any of our experiences and turn it into a story.
Yeah, I don't know why
you don't have to always like have it be with like, oh, this kid, he just turned 13, now he's fighting puberty and he has a crush on a girl who doesn't like him like back or whatever. Like talk about how like he is in a community with like Latinos and he's maybe not Latino enough for them. Like talk about that. Like don't just introduce him as a Latino character and not do anything with that because you're not actually representing us. You're just using it for the token name and that's it.
Thing is, like, I got a question for y'all, and this is like,
I get that,
blows
but
my
I
mind.
also feel like a lot of like
Diego
characters.
It's our time to shine, Mike.
Let us vent, Mikey.
No,
We
go
don't
ahead,
have
go
to
ahead,
do
go down, go
this.
ahead. Go ahead.
I get that that happens and that you want to see them struggle, but every time you kind of see like a Latino person struggle, I think like 4 out of 5 times it's mostly about immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I can name so many characters that have to deal with the struggle, and you know,
Name 5.
it's a huge problem. But at the same time, it's like I kind of want a normal kid, like who's Latino and who's not like struggling day after day.
That's true.
It's because then it's too much on the other side.
Exactly.
Or you're either too generic or you're
Yeah.
always so specific on one thing. Yeah.
You gotta have a good balance, honestly.
And I feel like that's where progress comes in time, though. Because like you're gonna have to deal with what they do with Robbie or with Blue Beetle if he is on. I don't know if is he on any like live action shit.
No, I
I
mean,
was getting
live action. I think, was when he was in Smallville, and that was like one episode. It was bad.
Okay.
But
in regards to that, at least, because I feel like comics are a lot more open now, where you can like,
yeah,
hasn't the story been made? It's been, come on.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to look at those little baby steps where it's like, damn, what's a good story nobody's ever done yet? And then out of the blue, here will come whatever, you know, that's going to be, oh.
All right, Mikey. I'm going to give it to you now.
All right. The thing is, like, my question.
No. I'm gonna interrupt you. It's actually about comics, though. It's about comics. So
all right, cool.
Even not even after.
No, this is about us.
Okay, you're right. It is about us.
That's true. It
is about comics, though, so you can breathe, Michael. But what also too is like with Hispanic or Latino characters, I think it'd be nice to have them speak Spanish more. Was that you, Mikey?
No, that was me. There was a motorcycle just like super fast.
That was
to actually like say, like, they don't have to like have the entire comic in Spanish, absolutely, but like I know for sometimes certain things or sentences I have an instinct to just say it in Spanish. And it's like I feel like that'd be cool to have in comics, because not only is it just like adding to the representation, but it's also teaching younger kids who read comics Spanish. And since that's such a big thing here of like taking Spanish classes and everything it's required, why not make it into a fun way? Because also I feel like how comics handle speaking Spanish is a very, very weird way. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but does this bother anybody else in comics where like there's somebody, let's say an instance, they're like talking about a drink and they're like, oh yeah, I was drinking my limonada, and it's like,
yes,
that's the weirdest word they pick out.
The entire sentence in English, and then boom, one Spanish word, and then the rest in English. Bullshit.
Let me ask you a question.
Talk like that.
No, just going to the biblioteca and. It's like, who says that? What Latino says? If you're gonna speak in English, you speak entirely in English, or you speak in sections in Spanish.
Say the sentence in Spanish. That's like exactly what I was talking about, because like I feel like with stuff like that, that's how they always do it. And you know what too? It sounds like how Christian said it. It's like you say it in one voice and your Spanish is suddenly changed, and then you go right back to it.
I always read it white. I always read it white when I read it.
Yeah, because it's like
Biblioteca.
Who talks like that?
Biblioteca. Okay, OG, say you were saying you're gonna have a question, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, what would you guys prefer more? Spanglish, basically? Or would you want the sentence in the native language and then like on the side of translation?
On the side of translation.
Okay.
I want both. Both we use both.
Both would be cool.
Both because let's be real, we do both. We do both.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one,
don't have your only Spanish being like English, one word in Spanish, English. Like that's not
the thing
how
is, like,
talk.
I've seen like, for example, it'll be like a panel or like a with all Spanish, and then but I've never seen it there like be like a translation in the corner or anything like that. So like I don't know.
It'd be nice to have a translation because like we also just said, not every Hispanic Latino people speak fluent Spanish, and it's like you gotta find that nice middle ground of everything. You have to be well-rounded in your representation, or else somebody's going to criticize something all the time anyway. But it's good to know that you are well-rounded in your representation and that you try to hit all corners.
I think there just needs to be better research too.
Yeah, better research as well. Or actually, having the people of that culture or heritage work on it, but
I mean, there are people on the come up right now that are, or even in the past that are Latinx and Hispanic that are like writers and artists and stuff.
I think Coco the movie did a really good job with mixing English and Spanish. Yeah, but it's been a while since I watched it. All right, if Diego confirms it, then it's true.
But here's the thing: I
you
watched
it a lot.
Spanish.
Yeah, and thing is like, because I watched it with you in Spanish, I can't unwatch it in Spanish now. I can't watch it in English.
We can't watch that movie together. We cannot watch that movie when I'm in that room.
But the thing is, too, is because of translation, I feel like it hits harder in Spanish anyway.
It hits home.
Like, yeah. It stings. That feeling, it just stings. Like, damn, I feel that.
Yeah.
There's definitely gonna be a lot more trial and error though. Like,
Word.
just like anything, it's gonna be like a lot more tripping and falling before they get shit right.
There has to
So I can kind of like, I can definitely agree what you mean, because sometimes I learn even new Spanish when a sentence is said and I'm like, oh, I never knew this was the word for whatever the fuck this was. So like, I'm also learning when reading it, but I'm also okay with the occasional Spanglish word, as long as it's not like tokenism type shit.
Yeah.
Word.
Jump in my carro. Let's go over to my abuela's house real quick.
You know, I want Spanish to be like. I kind of want Spanish to be kind of like used in a cool way, because more often than not, a lot of young, like when I was teaching Spanish, a lot of younger kids don't speak it because they're kind of embarrassed by it. So if we have that, I think it would kind of lead into like, damn, my culture is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I like speak more to that or just do that more?
I think Spanish is a cool language anyway.
You're right.
It is a cool language.
Yeah.
It depends
I'm
on
spending more of my college years to do that.
Oh god.
Slight over it to Spaniards, because I hate when it does sound. Like I don't like
How do you give,
That
let me just ask
so
this.
much.
How do you give your entire country a lisp?
I think that you.
What the fuck is up with Vosotros? Who else hates Vosotros? Who the
uses
fuck else hates
Vosotros?
Vosotros?
I will absolutely never forget doing Spanish homework one time, and it said something about dinner, but all I heard was cena, and I was like, what the fuck's a cena? I was like, what? And then it took me reading the word to realize that she was saying cena, and it was dinner, and I was like, on God.
That's funny.
Hard facts.
I want to ask real quick. I mean, I've been meaning to ask this question, but can y'all think of any like
No, shut up. Anyway.
characters or like what?
No, I was joking.
I said like forgotten like Hispanic characters or or just like misrepresentations.
Yes. Okay.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Yes. No. I have a story about that. Okay. So apparently, in America, they wanted to cancel Speedy Gonzalez because they thought he was a racist depiction of Mexicans. But the Mexican community came up and was like, "Who the fuck took away our Speedy Gonzalez? He was awesome." And same thing I think happened at Chipotle or some other restaurant where it can't be Chipotle because it's still around, but people were complaining about it because of the food who was like misrepresenting Latinos.
How do we Taco Bell if it's not Chipotle?
That's true. No, I feel like it has to be some off-brand Taco Bell Chipotle thing, Burrito Hut or something like that. But I think no. Like, let me just finish this thought. I feel like it's mostly white people who have such a voice towards what's racist to Latino people, and that really bothers me.
It's a white savior complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that was the answer that you were looking for, Mikey, though.
Nah, but no, it's still good. It's still a good conversation.
Can you name a comic book character that's like that, Chris?
Yes. Let me just not Google anything right now.
I'm just fucking with you.
So, Christian, I want to show you a character, bro. That's like
Masimenos. There we go.
Masimenos is
Okay,
Masimenos,
Masimenos is
yeah.
like.
There's a character that.
What about them?
Yeah, they're great.
Masimenos,
Sí podemos. Yo.
I love them so
Thing
much.
is, like,
They're honestly so adorable.
There's a misrepresentation character that like DC made like a long time ago. That's supposed to be a Colombian character, Christian. So I'm gonna pull this guy up real quick. Try not to get too offended, but like you're gonna be very offended. Like I recommend it.
If it has anything to do with cocaine or marijuana, I love it.
Oh boy.
Yep.
So this character's name is Snowflame, and he was a Colombian cartel that did cocaine. And his superpower was that if he snorted cocaine, he would gain like pyrokinesis powers.
Wow.
La cocaína, man.
Jawline.
Make it for good.
He was a character in like the 70s, I think. I don't know who created him, but probably an asshole.
I'm so happy you brought this to my attention, Mikey.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you know he's Colombian? Like, is it just like it just pulls him up as one, or does he be like?
I looked it up on like the wiki of him. They say he's Colombian.
Okay, because I'm curious if he just dropped the fact that like someone was like, "Look out for this guy, he's Colombian."
Word.
Like, here's this character. He's in Colombia. Okay, I guess he's probably Colombian. Like, I'm curious if it was.
Colombia does have a really bad drug problem, and one of the main things is cocaine. And
known for it.
It runs the country.
I put my balls about that. It's
What?
It's, ignore me. Just continue. I'm sorry.
Whatever with your opinions. Okay.
I interrupted. You're good.
Yeah, and like I don't know if y'all know about this character. I literally forgot this character existed when I looked it up. But do y'all know who Anya Corazon is? You know what
Anya.
Who?
Anya Corazon? Yeah.
Anya Corazon?
Yeah. She was like their new fighter like character in like the 2000s, and her name was Aranya at first. And she had like that was like her one on the left was like her
creative.
She was like gadgets and stuff like that. And then she later got spider powers and became a version of Spider, and she still exists.
Wait a minute. Back up. Her birth name was Aranya?
No, her superhero name was Aranya. Her name is Anya, like Anya, like
coincidence.
Her name is Anya, like Anya. Yeah, Anya, like Anya.
I thought the way that you were voicing it, it made it sound like her name was Aranya, and they were like, well, let's name her Aranya, and I was like,
no, her superhero name at first was like Aranya, and like she was like a vigilante that like was modeled after like inspiration from like Spider-Man and like use spider gadgets stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and then she became like Spider Girl or whatever.
Taylor, you don't have to fry this man.
Honestly. God damn.
You're sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
Kind of like the goggle hair combo is pretty trippy.
Word.
Definitely 2000s. Definitely.
Word.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if like Miguel O'Hara's another misrepresentation.
Miguel O'Hara, who is also half Irish.
Irish, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was halfers.
Isn't Miguel O'Hara like Miguel O'Hara? Like that's ridiculous.
See, you had me in the first half, and then you heard
the O'Hara part. Big though, because Spider-Verse 2, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna credits.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how they do that.
I mean, if it's Oscar Isaac, I'm okay with it.
It's gonna be Oscar Isaac, and that's gonna be dope.
I'm okay with that.
I always forget. I realized when I was doing like quick research that like DC has less Hispanic characters than like Marvel.
Yeah, I think DC doesn't really have a lot of Hispanic characters.
The only one I can think of is like Renee Montoya and like Bunker, and like that's it. And like Blue Beetle, and like that's it.
Yeah, they don't. There's not, and Masi Manos, but there's like. I feel like you can name on like two hands DC like Hispanic characters, whereas Marvel you can accumulate a pretty good list.
Like White Tiger, like people forget about White Tiger. Like,
that was my sexual awakening right there. Sorry, too much. My bad.
I didn't know about her until the Ultimate Spider-Man show.
TV show.
Yeah,
me either. Yeah.
Yeah, but like White Tiger was like a thing, and cool costume and shit. I mean, she exists.
Yeah. Are we gonna talk about? How do you guys feel about most of the depictions of Latinos being villains? Has that ever bothered you? Have you guys ever thought about that?
I have to think which ones are villains now.
The only Latino villain that I know of, I'm pretty sure, is Tarantula.
Tarantula's one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even think of one.
He's a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
And I think, genuinely, that's the only one that I know.
Nah, wait, I think is Avalanche count? Like from X-Men? He like Latino?
Is he Latino?
I think. I could be wrong.
Who?
Bro, if I know the character and I didn't think they were Latino,
they're not Latino.
No, it's not that they're not, but I feel like something went wrong.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I'm trying to think like villains. I don't know.
The only one that
I can't think of any villains.
is Tarantula.
Like from the list, I'm seeing like people like characters like and I forgot like they supposedly Kyle Rayner's Hispanic. Supposedly, they don't like.
Really?
Kyle Rayner?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Green Lantern. Yeah,
Really? Isn't he the
No. Are you
redhead?
serious?
yeah. I think yeah. It's hold on. Let me look at like ethnicity real quick.
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah, it said like
Spaniard.
Wait, hold on. He's about time. Wait, what?
There's a
He's
decent
born
amount.
to a Latin American father and an Irish mother. Yeah,
What's up with them mixing Hispanics and Irish people?
yeah.
We
I
get
don't know.
It is common.
Well, a dope character that I think is really cool that got his movie debut. Well, not movie debut, but like his second time in a movie was Sunspot in X-Men.
Yeah.
Sunspot's dope. But I remember watching a video about like colorism in comics and like a lot of like Sunspot's more the Afro-Latino side where like he's more like the dark Brazilian. But like every time like later in comics and like the movies, he's more lighter complexion, which is like a problem.
Colorism goes a lot though with all POC. Like colorism is very, very big.
Yeah, for sure.
Across all POC people.
I think with Latinos, most of ours is we're kind of viewed as sexual objects or sexual deviants.
That's one part of it.
Yeah.
Hispanic women. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Hispanic women are always seen like that. Yeah, 100%.
Hispanic men too, just to a lesser degree.
We're exotic.
Yeah,
Because
we're
it's
sexualized.
the exotic, and plus it's also that like weird stereotype or whatever you will call it that Spanish is a very big love language and stuff like that. So it's like people always.
Are you trying to say the Latinos aren't horny? Because I'm here to tell you that that's a very incorrect.
Yeah, I found a cool image.
But I mean,
God.
Isn't Spanish, French, and Italian all basically like love languages just because they derive from the same?
Yeah. But if you look at it,
Romance
Italian
languages.
and French people still, with their representation as well, are always like overly romantic or overly sexual.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm talking about here. Like, originally when he debuted, he was darker skinned, but then over time he just got lighter and lighter. And it's just like,
I believe it.
Yeah, which is obviously for like Hispanic, but also like with black representation, like Storm. I'm tired of seeing fucking light skin Storm. I can't deal with it.
Storm is very, very light skinned now. That's really exciting.
And I didn't know because like I've been seeing like the mod. I when I got into like New Mutant stuff, I knew like the modern version of Sunspot, and I always thought he was that complexion. So when I saw that it was darker skin originally, I was like kind of shocked and like not surprised though. What happened.
You know what that also is too? Gonna call out Disney real quick. Disney is very, very colorist. I feel like when they cast characters, like POC characters, they very, very are light skinned, heavily light skinned when they're not.
For sure.
It's like, and that's just very, it's colorist, and that's like Disney does it a lot. Like their Storm is very, very light skinned.
Word. It's just terrible. I need dark skin Storm. We need that shit. Anyway, what?
Wait. Can we take a moment and acknowledge some of these pictures? Like row 2, column 4, and like row 3, column 1. Those are my spirit animals right there.
Row 3, column. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. See, take your time. It's all right.
Oh fuck! I just realized something.
Yeah.
I realized something. We forgot one that's like big. I guess. Fucking Sam Alexander. Fucking Nova.
Yeah. No, I thought he wasn't because none of you guys mentioned it, and I didn't want to be the idiot and say anything. Yeah.
I love Sam Alexander. He's a dope like Hispanic Latino character that's like been popping for a while.
Yeah, my introduction to him was through Spider-Man cartoons.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Okay, word up.
Just give me a Hispanic character that's the main character. Give me their whole comic series.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
We're sidekicks. That's where they put us at. That's where we're the most
a Latino gay character, and then we'll talk.
Oh, okay. We're getting advanced here.
Y'all think if we ever got Nova in the MCU, we want like the Richard Rider Nova or this Nova to be the start one? His character debut.
Any of these images.
That's a very good question, Mikey. Because here's the thing, Mikey told me like what we're going to be talking about, and if I wanted to write notes or something, so I figured like, oh, this is like legit, so I probably should get something ready. And I was thinking of a good parallel, and the only one that could come to mind really quickly was Captain America and Sam Wilson. And I'm okay with the vanilla being first, like either Richard Rider or Steve Rogers, because they can help set up the mythology for the character. That when you add a person of like color or something, imagine this: the first time you see Captain America part of the MCU shit. Imagine if you had to explain the story of Captain America and make people care, and then also the story of Sam Wilson and make people care. It sounds like it should be like easy to digest, but sometimes it's not. So I'm okay with, okay, this is who Captain America was. This is a new Captain America now, and let's see what he does different entirely. And so like I feel like if it's Richard Rider first, okay, then we could get a benchmark of what Richard Rider is. But then Sam Alexander comes out of nowhere and is like, whoa, he does what now? Okay, word. This is how he's different. This is how he's unique. This is how he's like as a character and as a person. This is like how it's different.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the exact same thing when I was thinking about this podcast. And at the beginning, I was leaning towards the fact that I kind of didn't like it when people led with the vanilla. I felt like it took away the uniqueness. But listening to your perspective, that's a valid point, you know? For people, let's be honest, the majority of people in America are white, so they need a little bit of help understanding different cultures.
Yeah.
And like you said, it helps with the contrast and like seeing what's different, and you know, and understand, and also seeing what's the same too.
Yeah, because if it falls, I feel like if it falls through, then that's not on the character. That's on people who are trying to show who the character is, like how a character is written or whatever. If people don't cling on to it, it's because you're doing something wrong, not because this character is just not likable. You know, it's like you can't put all of it on them. It's got to be. It's okay.
Very valid point, because it's easy just to be like, oh no, they hate it because they're racist. But in reality, no, it's because your writing is terrible, and you're just trying to find a cop out. I'm happy that you brought that up. That's a very nice perspective.
I forgot this motherfucker. I forgot this dude. Fucking everyone's favorite Hispanic hero, Vibe. Anyone?
Did I not just mention Vibe earlier? Give a shit about Vibe.
I forgot about this. Oh god. I mean,
he
fuck the character, but I remember this because the Flash. That's
Me too. And that one short that they had in the DC universe on Nickelodeon. Remember that?
What?
Where they had, you don't remember that? It took place in like the 90s, and the vibe was like all in 90s clothing, and
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like breakdancing and shit.
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
And I was just thinking, it's like, who the fuck is this guy?
I don't know what ethnicity is, but I don't know. I don't know if they say, but
I'm pretty sure he's Latino.
I mean, he is, but no, I'm just saying, like, if he's Mexican or Colombian or whatever.
I don't know.
I don't know about that, but yeah. I mean, he was cool on the Flash. I mean, that's fine. Like,
But that also brings back to the whole, we're only put in as side characters, like Taylor mentioned. Which is very upsetting.
Okay.
Low key though, I kind of did like Cisco a lot more than Barry for a while. Just real shit. Like sometimes the side characters are just better than the main ones.
Right. You're right.
They are. But in terms of like sometimes with comic books, I feel like it's easier to love a side character in a show or a movie because like they get enough screen time, but it's harder in a comic book because they kind of get tossed very easily after a couple of issues.
Word.
I need you guys' help on something then, just to help give me more of a better perspective on the average comic book reader. How would you guys explain it? Like, how would you describe it?
Describe what?
Like, because I know, because I most of my knowledge is based mostly like visual media type of stuff. I don't know too much I'll be honest, as a core member, I don't know too much on the comic book perspective because I have some and I'm cool with it. So, but I don't know like the general, like how would you explain what a comic book reader kind of is like traits, attributes, likes, dislikes, tendencies, bad tendencies?
You mean when it comes to just like representation and like diversity? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say like nowadays, like because people are starting to like showcase more minority characters, especially like the past like 10 years. I mean, nowadays it's better, but like say back in the day, nah.
I feel like now I shouldn't be one to talk because we have the same amount of qualifications on this, Chris. Even if they were not the same person. But anyway, I feel like a lot of people who are like entering it are kind of like alternative people. I think I'm using the right term. I'm not young anymore, so I'm not sure. But it's like I had a class with freshmen and I felt like an old ass man, so that's why I said it. But I feel like a lot of people who are trying to be different and unique are getting into all this nerd stuff and obviously stereotypical things when you think of a nerd is Dungeons and Dragons, comic books, World of Warcraft. So all these people are trying to be hip, cool, young, different, edgy, things like that. I feel like there's a huge influx of those people coming in, and like Mikey said, that's the increase. That's the people that are going up.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I could describe alt people, I can't.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't really know them too well, and I feel like I avoid them like the plague. I think. Like how again, I'm not sure if I'm using the word correctly. All my research is from TikTok, but I feel like they kind of suck. Like they're just all influencers.
If you want, well, alt people. No, then you're using it wrong.
Yeah.
Alt people are by definition social rejects.
Oh no, I feel like I'm using it right then.
Well, they're not influencers then.
Yeah, minus the influencers. That was a stupid thing to say. I feel like I feel like some influencers feel like they're rejects. And that's what I was mentioning, but you're right. What I meant to say was they're just rejects. Like actually no. I feel like what I was trying to say was people who are pretending to be rejects. That's what I meant.
There are people who are pretending to be alt people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because they're boring or they didn't bother to make their own personality or what have you. Okay. Like me.
Lord. Yeah, but nowadays it's more easier to find like representation when it comes to characters nowadays in like the past like 10 years rather than like a while ago. Like
there definitely is, and like because like a lot of representation was still stereotypical and racist as we can pull from that last hero.
Yeah. I have a question. What do you think started this shift of like both representation and increase of people? Do you think it was the increase of minorities in media? Do you think it was the increase of outcasts entering specific types of media?
I think it was minorities and POC just eventually getting fed up with people's shit.
Word.
Yeah, like you had to deal with more with like civil rights.
Yeah, it's more of like how many times am I gonna have to watch white people in books and TV shows and everything I see before I finally realize, hey, I'm a person too. I mean, that's what I honestly think it is. I think it's just POC are finally at the point where they're like, I'm fed up with you and your shit. Like, I'm a person. I deserve to be shown as a person.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's a very valid answer.
Because like the thing is like comics mostly, especially with comics, even in movies, what have you, like it's people use creative outlets to address issues. Even back in like old school comics, even though they were mostly white anyway, they were addressing certain issues and problems.
Yeah.
And especially like now, like in the past, how many years even had like Black, Hispanic creators, writers, or artists, editors, what have you, working on these books, and just as what Taylor's being fucking fed up seeing just the same old white people that they have to draw and write about over and over and over again. So
I'm like,
yeah,
does it
I
get
don't
boring?
know why
You know
that
what I
sentence
mean?
made me laugh.
Mm.
Like the phrase "same old white people" is so funny
Yeah.
to me.
You get the
So,
same
like,
white
it's
bread
just-
over and over again.
It gets stale after a while.
Yeah,
White
so it's just
people like their white bread. Don't take it away from them.
they're Wonder Bread, yeah. They're Wonder Bread shit.
You do get those Stan Lees though, the one people that I really want to do this character because he's so unique or special, like
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and then it's like people are probably not gonna really like that. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just do it, and then okay, people just
Yeah.
it's a small step-by-step progression of people taking a risk on a character or an idea, and then seeing how it pays off or seeing how it fails in what aspects. I feel like that's and it's also reflective. That's what I was gonna say, like. It's like how it usually mimics what's happening in current life. So that's usually the comics that do. I feel like that usually the comics that do best is when it's like
and like to put respect on like people like progressive people like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, or like Todd McFarlane or what have you. That like we're just like, you know what, we're gonna do characters that like we aren't really seeing nowadays and just take a risk with it. Like for example, like with Black Panther, Black Panther was the first black hero to be in comics, and his name was Black Panther during the Civil Rights Movement. And he was made by two Jewish people. Like, that's crazy. And he's a huge name now. Like, and what happened? But yeah, word. I mean, just gotta people. There are those non-POC creators that like want more representation, want to take risks with characters that don't look like themselves, and it works out for the most part. You see characters like fucking Miles Morales, who's half Latino, half black, and is made by created by a white dude, Brian Michael Bendis, and he's a household name now when it comes to like Marvel. So yeah, that's what I all got. That's all I gotta say about that.
He now has a cat in the video game.
It's really happy, Chris, that you mentioned like this slow progression. Even though like making jokes about I was fucking bullshit. I want this shit and I want it now. Like there's legitimately they're jokes. I don't actually believe that. What I believe is what you said. It's a slow progression. And in order to get there, it requires patience.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people on the internet want it now. You know, they just, mostly to complain, just to complain, and then people who never had an opinion on it just stick on it and take it as like legit. Oh, these Latinos, they really want it now. It's like no, this fucking guy's just bitching about bitching shit. And
it always sucking somehow or something. And
exactly. It's if you rush it, it's just gonna suck.
Yeah,
and
if you rush into it, you're not gonna get what you want, and then you're gonna complain anyway. You have to let people do their research, let them work, let them learn, and then they're gonna put out something good.
Yeah, and just to follow up,
come to those who wait.
Yeah, word. And like to follow up, like when I hear like this YouTuber that I watched, that one of my favorite YouTubers on Blur Without Fear, he talks about like when it comes to like POC representation in comics, people were just like, let me have more black characters like in Marvel, DC, whatever. But like, here's the thing, y'all don't buy it. Y'all just buy the same Batman and Superman books the entire time.
True.
Yeah.
Literally, like there are books, and there are characters like Miles Morales, like Jessica Cruz, like whatever that like who are people like Hispanic, Latino, Black, what have you, Asian, what have you, that are mainlining these books that Marvel or DC or even like independent books right now. But like y'all don't want to buy them because you just want the same old Batman story the entire time, just out of like pure habit, essentially. And like there are books out like support like I don't know like a book like I don't know like Deadly Class that's like has the main character who is a Hispanic
that out like it was the book of the month, bro.
Right
We're so ready.
Like have a book like Deadly Class where the main character is Nicaraguan. He's a Nicaraguan character and has a lot of Mexican representation. Yeah, or like a book like Excellence that's like a majority black book that's about like magicians in New York and it's awesome. Like, you know?
I have a quick comment then, Mikey.
What's up?
I feel like I'm being devil's advocate here.
What's up?
So,
oh god,
I know that there are some people, because I'm just like thinking to like my own experiences sometimes. There are some people that connect with more of a character when they share the same mindset, rather than the same skin color. Because some people are like, okay, I can understand this, but I can't relate. versus where, I mean, Batman's a bad example because it's Batman. But there's sometimes there's characters where like I really like how this character thinks.
Yeah, like Spider-Man is a good example. Perfect example.
That's perfect
like
example.
Peter Parker. Yeah.
Like some people are just like, I like how he thinks. I think like that too. I like this person. So there are like there's a balance, or there's like there's two sides of it too.
Yeah, well, like I'm just saying, like when most people complain, I want more. Like there are out there, you're just not supporting them.
I want something different, but then I agree. Like I want something different. Okay, well you're not supporting something different. You're
exactly.
Facts.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the community is to blame? 1% my white minority? Don't tell that on Twitter, my guy. They can't handle that level of truth.
Yeah, but like, just saying, these stories are out there. You just gotta find them and support them. Sending them the same Batman, Superman, Spider-Man books. Even though those characters are great, but
you just have to actively look.
Yeah.
Mikey, you got another question for us?
I mean, nah. I mean, I'm good.
We're out. Okay.
No. If y'all want to like keep like moral of the story: support independent comics because they're better than mainstream comics.
Okay, that is not the moral of the story.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just. It was a joke. God damn.
It's not. What do you mean?
I hate you all.
I think I got the wrong email.
Story, I guess more representation, better representation, and hug your closest Latino every once in a while.
Yeah.
I feel like the moral of this story. I feel like the moral of the story is be patient, support local Latino works, and be proud to be brown.
Word.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Don't put that on a shirt. That sounds
no, not in this day and age, no.
Yeah. Also, like
we can say it in secret.
Props to Hispanic Latinx writers and artists that have either been around for a while or like just coming up.
It feels like we're ending it, but that reminds. I gotta add another thing. I really want to ask you guys' opinions. How do you feel about Latinx? Do you like that? Do you want that?
The term?
Do you care? Yeah. Do you care about that term at all?
That's a bag of worms, man.
I feel like it's a gender neutral term, is it not?
It's a new one added recently.
Yeah.
It was first. I think it was either in the 2010s. It was basically a way to include non-binary people because Spanish is such a binary language that it has masculine and feminine words. But from what I've been seeing recently is that there's so much pushback from it being used because it's kind of like Americanizing Spanish. And that's the thing that kind of annoys me because I'm like, Spanish is a colonizer language.
It is.
It is.
That is true,
and I think a lot of Latinos forget about that.
I did.
That's what, and they get really pissed. Like, oh, don't say Latinx. I'm Latino, not Latinx. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
That's cool. Just let people say what they want. Like, I don't think it doesn't matter. I think it matters for those who aren't, represented in that language.
True. At the end of the day, they're just words, and they only hold the amount of weight that people give it.
Yeah.
But I really want to address the weight that's being given to it. Like, I really believe that all these words are just words. Except for the N word and then the bad F word. Those are some pretty oops. When it comes to things like this, I'm thinking like, is it helping?
Something like that is a little bit.
Oh, do we not want to talk about it? I don't want to get controversial if you guys don't want to get controversial.
No, I was saying like something like about like Latinx or whatever. Like I feel like it's fine. I don't know why people are getting up. I haven't really heard much discourse about it. I thought it was just a term that we all agreed like, yay, gender neutral, and that's why I was like, oh, that's cool. I had no idea that people were getting up in arms about it.
Yeah, people get really mad. I'm like, you're trying to defend colonizers, even though that language is from colonizers. Like, it's a mess. I think that I think Latinos have a hard time identifying themselves too.
Yeah.
Granted, it's because the word Latino in itself is a political term. that's its whole bag of worms, the census and everything too. But
I mean,
Right.
so is Hispanic though.
Yep, Hispanic
Word.
is another. There's like, oh god, there's
Yo,
so many.
Hispanic
Hispanic
is
came
different.
from white people. Hispanic came from Americans. We didn't just suddenly call ourselves that.
Yeah.
Word.
It's like,
And it's not like everyone's Hispanic. I think that's why Latino is made to include countries that don't speak Spanish as well.
yeah.
Like
Like-
Brazil with the Portuguese.
Yeah, because Latino includes people who speak Portuguese.
hmm Literally, the majority is South America.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
Word.
yeah. Well, South America. Is there any place in South America that isn't considered Latino? Gonna get that geography lesson real quick.
Nazi villages in Argentina, probably, but who knows?
Brazil? No, not Brazil, right?
No, Brazil
No.
is Latino.
Brazil's
Oh,
Latino.
okay.
Yeah, the Brazil.
Latino includes
Just
every
said
single
that,
Latin
right?
American country.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Brazil, yeah, it includes, Brazil would be like Latino, but not Hispanic.
Okay, gotcha.
I've got
Yeah.
a question then.
Yeah.
Individually, to you four, would you say that the progression is like trying to roll a boulder up a hill,
Yeah.
rolling a boulder down a hill, or
Mm.
rolling a boulder straight level but super bumpy? How would you guys explain it? Or how do you
A little
let me
bit
got
of
you.
a
I got
mixture of
no
up a
time.
hill,
one at a
but
time? I'm the moderator now. One at a time.
actually all
Go
three.
for it.
No,
Go say it.
all three. Up a hill,
What?
then you go down the hill, and then you got a kind of like normal pace, but it's bumpy, and then you got to go up a hill again.
I got a better analogy. A pendulum.
Okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
No, think about it. Yeah, I feel like really when it comes to
Hey, Sherlock Holmes.
points of change, it's at one spot where we don't want to be at, so we push forward, and then we make it for a split second. But then it looks like we make it for a split second, but then we push all the way to the other side where we got everything we want, but it came with a lot of things that we didn't want. So we're gonna push it back, and it goes back and forth till we reach the middle to something that we actually want. You know, like I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Because for me,
Okay,
I have to live as a Mexican, and right now, Mexican is kind of like a blanket term for Latin American immigrants. So it's kind of got that stain on it. And so does Central America. But like, you kind of like have to like just kind of live with that. So like for me, I think currently in terms of Mexicans, it's pushing up a hill, just trying to like, not be seen as someone who's trying to get into the country illegally.
Oh no, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Like as of now, and I think for the future, it's gonna be a push for a while.
Yeah.
Like the analogy. Don't get me wrong, I agree with that. It's just my experience being Latino. I feel like when I mention it, like earlier, younger, when I said it, I felt as though like, oh, okay, I'm not really seen as well, and I want some progression to be seen a little bit better. And then now, current day Christian, I feel like okay, they're only seeing my Latino side. They don't really care about me as an individual. Like
Right.
I wanted, that's a good example. My pendulum is like in the beginning we were one spot where I want to be seen with my Latino self, and then we pushed it all the way to the side where that's all you see about me. And then like Chris said, it's a slow process for us to find in the middle, but eventually, I feel like it'll even out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as soon as we
Get it? You like physics?
So then, how would you say? Would you
I don't
say
know
that?
what to talk to about.
Would you say that same outlook mirrors how it would be in comics then too, where
Yeah.
it's that same kind of progression?
Oh yeah.
Books
for
and
sure.
all
For each of
forms
you?
of
Okay.
media. Yeah, I feel I'm happy that you said that. I feel as though we all know at the beginning, at one point we got nothing, and then we're at the other point we got all of it, but none of the substance. If anything, we got too much of it, and
That
it's
makes
just
sense,
for money. Yeah. Yes.
So you feel like it'll always be a constant state of chaos almost?
No, I feel like the beginning it's gonna be no one gets what we want, and then eventually it's gonna settle down.
Mhm.
There
Let me
needs
try
to be a
explain that
happy
little bit better.
medium. If there
Yeah,
needs
there's
to
a
be a
happy medium.
The happy
Like I
medium
said, this
comes
entire
from
time, there needs to be a middle ground. You need
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
well-rounded.
Word.
Well-rounded.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not
Well-rounded.
talking about this. We're not talking
We're talking about
this. We're talking about this.
Would you say that sometimes, like, if you look at this stepping out of it, right, and you look at the state of, say, comic books, for example, would you feel like it's a bit of a tall order to have everybody represented all at the same time?
Yes. You're getting the banger questions. Now let me
Honestly.
see why I say yes.
God, I
feel
want to
like-
say, I want to say no, but I know the right answer is yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's no right answer. It's just your opinion. Like, do you feel like
Or I mean, the most realistic answer.
okay?
If you involve too many people, like on our modern day and age, there is a plethora of varieties of people, of minorities, of sexualities, of everything in between.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, like the numbers itself.
I feel like it's really hard to make everyone happy. It will get to a point where it will make everyone, at some point not happy with one little thing. Or why does this person get way more representation than I do? Or like, I feel like it's always going to be a sort of pushback from someone.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I feel like that's regardless of anything. People just
Anything,
hate
yeah,
things,
that's
just
everything in the
anything.
world.
Yeah,
100%.
but the point that I was trying to
Humans are
make
never
was
happy.
the point that I was trying to make was like, in order to get one really good, just to get like one minority really good, there has to be a good focus on it.
Word.
And two, that's really hard. And three, I feel like that's near impossible. And that we're talking about like more than a handful, maybe. I can't even give you a number on how many people need to be represented in order for us to get the whole people. So I don't think there's ever going to be a comic where everyone feels included, but I feel like we will get to a point where there is a comic where you do feel included.
So you feel like at some point we'd be able to plateau and finally have things feel like, maybe plateau isn't the good word, but like how Taylor said, like eventually
Like middle ground?
we will meet that sweet spot.
Yeah, word.
What I'm trying to say. Yes.
Yeah.
You figured it out. This man's an engineer.
100%.
I like him.
This man's an engineer.
Yeah, he gets.
Anybody have any other opinions? Or we all kind of
Yeah, I'm good. I don't. Yeah,
You
but we might have to end it because we're at like 1 hour and 37 minutes. So, any final?
Everyone.
I thought you
any
guys
final
did the
thoughts?
whole 3 hour long ones. You guys get into
No, we gotta do a 3 hour
It's
long
not enough
episode.
Latino yet.
Absolutely
It's
not.
Latino yet.
I'm so happy.
A bedtime.
Yeah, well,
bring it back to my
Yeah,
No,
I'm talking about
right.
this and
It's
everything.
11
Gotta go
o'clock
reheat
already,
some
huh?
rice and beans.
word. So no, any final thoughts? Any
Like I said before, hug your closest Latino.
Okay, look.
Give me the Robbie Reyes show now, please.
Yeah.
With Gabriel Luna. With
tweet.
Gabriel Luna.
Yeah, tweet Kevin Feige. Be like, we want this show now. You're not representing us.
Please,
Listen.
I beg you.
I got Kevin Feige on speed dial. I'll give him a
There you go.
ring.
My final thoughts, my closing thoughts is to bring my boy back from the Superhero Squad show, fucking Reptile.
Yes, I remember.
Where is Reptile? I want him back.
Oh my god.
I don't know what he is. I don't know what what country like his ethnicity from, but like I just remember him being like, oh, he's a Hispanic character and he's in a fucking show. And I remember
into dinosaurs.
This
That's
has
it.
been like on every like 6-year-old's birthday party. Every Mexican little kid Mexican kid's birthday party. I just see the balloons and everything already in my head.
honestly, yeah, word. Bring Reptile back. That's my final thoughts. Yeah.
Not a bad idea, Mikey.
Not a bad idea.
My final thoughts is check out the Invincible podcast
Yeah.
every tomorrow,
Yeah.
every Friday. Me, your boy Mikey, the occasional guest star Mikey and Damone if they give a shit.
Like man.
Yeah. And Declan, the new guy.
Yeah. Also, what's it called? Also another a random final thought. Watch my boy OG Christian Valera's YouTube channel. We'll put it in the link below. Because great content.
To everyone watching this, if you made it this far, thank you for sitting this far into this discussion. I really appreciate it.
Loved it. I don't care.
It's been a long discussion.
It has been, and it's been a very intriguing discussion to share with you guys.
I also hope that
Yeah.
if you have been watching or if you're going to watch, that you learned something.
Word.
Hard.
I learned nothing, but I got to vent about the bullshit that I got to experience.
We got to vent our
and I am
traumas.
happy.
Yeah, in the beginning it was a little bit about us, and then we slowly started getting back into a little.
We kind
Word.
of
I don't want you to-
about us.
Word.
About us.
Yeah, so to close out, I'm gonna say thank y'all for doing this. I appreciate it.
Are we
I
gonna do the
I want more panels like this, more like
For sure.
we're probably gonna do some more of these like in the future of like other topics. I don't know. I'll think of a plan. But yeah, I appreciate it. Also, OG, thanks for coming out, even though you're an adult. And
It's not a problem.
You're an adult.
Looking up Valera, I am currently doing every single superhero movie made by Marvel and DC, starting from all the way from 1945.
nice.
Currently, the next one coming up is Batman 1966. Be on the fucking lookout.
All right, y'all. Well, that's it. We're about to end the broadcast now.
Wait, Mikey.
Watch out, Mike. We're
I
after
love
you.
you.
You love, I love you
What?
too, Diego.
I love you all. Bye.
All right, Christian, outro.
Oh, word. Okay. In this fantastic coronavirus pandemic, remember, children, don't lick the homeless. Don't open doorknobs with your mouth. Don't rub bodily fluids into your eyes. And let me
To quote my favorite YouTuber, wash your damn hands. All right, peace, y'all. Get up there.
That's a nice outro.
Yep.